Right, sorry for the slight delay here, but we should call the whole meeting to order.
Move. Second.
On adoption of the agenda, all in favor? Move. Sounds good, everyone voted in favor of the agenda. Okay. All right, no delegations, minutes, meetings, departmental reports. We do have a few staff reports. First for receipt is the 2016 complete assessment roll.
Move receipt. Second.
A receipt then, all those in favor? Any questions, comments? Seeing none, pretty self-explanatory. I think people do at least understand that taxes don't necessarily go up by the amount of your assessment increase. It just depends on how that increase relates to the average. So.
You don't seem to get that in Vancouver, though.
No, well, Vancouver's gone way up. So we'll see. All right, so that's that for receipt. Thank you, Director of Finance. And then we have the strategic plan brought forward here for review of its current status, and the CAO is looking for any further direction. So a motion to receive that review order.
Move receipt. Second.
Receive then, all in favor. Motion's carried. CAO, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. As you'll note in the last column, the 0116 update, the strategic plan, tried to put in very short form current status of the items on our strategic plan. Most are underway. There are some still slated for later this year and next. But we've got, as I noted in my cover report, a big year ahead of us, a challenging year in terms of projects. So we're not necessarily looking for more at this stage, but we put it before you today to see if there is anything that Council would like, either clarification on where we're at right now, or if there's something else that Council would like to see added to the plan.
Thank you for that. So we'll open it for discussion. Councillor.
Yeah, going back to the water park, have we discussed any more with the architect or some kind of developer about the type of water? Are we looking at retaining the water that's used, recycling it, salt water? Keeping in mind, like last year we had such a shortage of water, and if we're looking at funds to put a water park that we can't use.
We're currently looking at underground storage of the used water. So it would go through the water park into underground storage. We're proposing to use that as grey water for the washroom building, for the washrooms, and potentially for irrigation purposes. Although we're not proposing to, correct me if I'm wrong now, tie it into the irrigation system in the park.
We are not proposing that. We may use, if possible, an independent fill station for things like our smaller tanker truck, possibility of maybe being able to fill our backhaul, possibly our street sweeper as well, if the volumes dictate such a application.
To rebroadcast the water from the tank still requires a level of disinfection, I understand.
Right. Yeah, and
so we're trying to get away from that aspect, but there is an ability to use it as grey water for the washrooms and other purposes as well.
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks.
Councillor Grant.
Yeah, I just, when we were at our water governance forum last night, Dale Wall, who used to be with the provincial government, we asked about financing of large projects, and one of the things he said was make sure you've got good projects, make sure that they're shovel ready. So I think that that's sort of something that we do anyway, but I just wanted to make sure that if we have any big projects, that we'll be shovel ready waiting for the new federal money that they've promised everybody, because there'll be quite a lineup for that, I'm sure.
We're hoping third time's a charm with our Lazo Road restoration rehab project, where we're losing part of the bank on Lazo Road. That's valued at approximately $1.8 million, which is, we believe, kind of the sweet spot for a community our size for the ask. So we're ready to go with that one.
Yeah, and on that, I'm meeting with our MP tomorrow morning to talk about that and a few other issues. But that is our number one, at this point, Build Canada infrastructure.
The other one was our capital plan open house. I noticed we've got another one set for 2016. That seemed to be a pretty successful thing that we did. Is that going to, are we heading towards making that an annual event, or?
I think so.
Okay.
You know, it seems to be, as you say, well received by the community. It provides us an opportunity to give kind of advance notice to the community about projects that are coming, not only in 2016, but in future years as well. So we do use it as a forum to communicate what we've got on the books.
And my last one was looking through some of this and noting that you mentioned that it's going to be quite an intensive year. I wonder if there's anything that we could maybe, that we might want to take out of this plan. I know we're a little short on the water park, if we could redistribute some money towards that. And one of the things I'm looking at, and I don't know, I'm just throwing this out, but our affordable housing, since the new, the new group has taken over that, is that still a goal and something that we're going to do for Comox, or are we going to allow the new, and so, maybe there's something we can do to make this plan a little tighter, possibly?
So you want to reallocate money to the water park so that we have more to do?
Well, I just... No Rotary, so Rotary will have more to do.
Well, that'll come up, of course, in our budget discussion.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Of course it will,
we're going to be providing you with a first draft, a complete financial plan in next committee.
Yeah.
And we can get into those discussions at that time. Before then, we're still looking at everything in the plan to see if we are being overly optimistic and need to remove a few things.
Okay.
So we'll take a shot at that first before we provide it to you.
Okay, it just was the affordable housing thing just caught my eye, since we've got this new group doing their thing and we're contributing money to that. If we need to spend a whole lot of time and effort on that if someone else is already doing it, so it's just for discussion, I guess. I don't know.
We have made the change in the financial plan. Don, do you want to speak to what you're proposing in the draft?
So
in the teaser,
in the coming financial plan, what you'll see is instead of us making an annual contribution to the Affordable Housing Reserve, we will have a grant that's paid to a homelessness project. Now, we don't know yet whether that will go to the regional district or to the sponsor agency or to the committee. That all has to be worked out, but the grants will be included in the next financial plan. One other point that I wanted to make is, regardless of our contribution annually to affordable housing or to sustainable housing, or homelessness, however you want to phrase it, we still have a developer's contribution to affordable housing. And so that will continue to go into our reserve, and that means that we will always have projects that we can proceed with in Comox. Right.
Okay, so maybe it's a good thing to leave on there?
The reserve will still be there. It's not going to disappear just because annually we're making a contribution to the homelessness initiative.
Okay.
And this specific reference to the Road Habitat for Humanity and Comox Valley Transition were specific to two sites.
That's right.
The old fire home being one, and the old Comox Elementary School, and those are still in flux. But I think Habitat was at Courtney Council last night, and they said that they're still having discussions with us. So they need land, they want to be near schools and transit and all that, so there may still be some possibilities there, but
Okay.
it would depend on circumstances as they go forward with the school district in particular.
Okay.
Yes, Councillor Grant.
Mr. Flanagan, I was interested in noting that you're developing a marketing strategy for the development of lands near the airport. Could you give me a little bit more information on that one?
that's one that we're working with Comox Valley Economic Development on. They're actually going to be taking the lead on that, but we will be working in a support role with them, just to see what initiatives and what target audience they're going to be proposing, seeing that it jives with our zoning bylaw and official community plan.
Is that the lands that I see for sale signs or surrounding the...
That's one of the parcels, yes. Yeah.
Actually, the CVED has engaged a consultant, and we're working with the consultants on what's called overall an investment land strategy, not just for Comox, but for Cumberland, Courtney, and the regional district as well. And that report is supposed to be included in the very near future. So it's a work item that, an action plan item, sorry, not only for the town, but for the regional district. So that work will probably be presented to us in the very near future. I know that CVED's met with staff and
I think that's going to be where a lot of this comes from.
Yep.
In that report.
Good.
All right.
Thank you, yes.
Councilor Arnott?
Yeah, page 12, regarding the Harbor Air overnight moorage, that was something one resident had emailed me and phoned me concerns with that, because I understand the schedule was changed over the winter to only have maybe one flight a day. And then doing a little bit of digging, I understand it's because they don't like to have the plane here overnight, so that reduces the schedule. So are we getting any traction with talking to various stakeholders about overnight moorage? Because that is a great service.
Yeah.
A lot of people use it, but in the winter, the schedule is impacted. Is CVED's involved in that?
Yes, to some extent. They initiated some of the discussions. The last time we met with Harbor Air was probably a year or two ago, and they were at that point going to talk with the Harbor Authority itself, because there was some concerns around maybe wanting to be over on that side.
Right.
But I don't think those went anywhere. Harbor Air had then shifted its focus to recent service they were going to be doing in China. Recently, Harbor Air has been sold.
to China?
Well, that's a long flight. The Harbor Air company has actually been acquired 49% by a Chinese investor. So some of the focus has changed for Harbor Air, but they're still wanting to provide more service here as they can. Winter months are a challenge for
Weather-wise, anyways.
So I think it's still an ongoing item, but it's not one we're actively pushing. It's more, okay, what do you need? How can we assist?
Right, okay.
And then the private marina is the one that's working with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a challenge
Yeah.
to find that safe location where they can moor their float plane overnight, because it has to be protected, particularly from our winter storms. And the places that are available are either in the private facility or the Harbor Authority, neither of which we have direct control over. So it's through the power of communication and persuasion that we hope that we can work something out eventually.
Okay.
All right, anything else? So at this juncture, unless there's changes that council would like to see made, and we're certainly open to that, we would just carry forward with the strat plan and carry on with implementation. We wouldn't necessarily be having further discussion on it unless people wanted to do so. I mean, my sense of it is that given what we've got to do this year, that maybe, assuming all goes well, we'll have a chance, essentially midterm, by next January, to kind of see what's on the plate for the next couple of years. Because if by the end of the year, we're well underway on our marine enhancement project, almost to completion, and then some of the other infrastructure projects, we're going to be looking at other things as we go. And of course, as we go forward, like even tomorrow, I'm meeting with St. Joe's Hospital Task Force on some of their plans, and some of that may develop into something else. So these things are always moving, coming and going. The fixed wing search and rescue, for example, that training center, recent press on that indicated that the deadline for submission of tenders was extended into January from last September, and the new federal government is going to be dealing with that. So how those things unfold, we've done our work on that, and maybe certain other work we'll have to wait and see. And then through our financial plan discussion starting next in 2 weeks' time, we'll deal with other things and then maybe other asks. We might be talking, for example, about pickleball or other things that go forward. So, anyway, we'll leave it at that for the time being unless there's anything else. All right, so then I think what we have is 2 pieces of correspondence that we just brought forward to this meeting. One about St. Joe's.
Move receipt of that.
I'll second.
On receipt, all those in favor? I know all too well of the challenges that they've had this winter, as they seem to have every winter. It's not getting any easier there to deal with the concerns that have been raised by this letter writer. But we're a little bit closer, again to putting a new hospital, which will address some of that, along with whatever they're going to do at St. Joe's. So all we can do is hope that between now and the time of the new hospital opening, that things carry on, and see what St. Joe's ends up doing. But there is a huge challenge right there right now.
Just a point, I felt that Liz made a really good point in her covering letter, i.e. we continue to build, and so they continue to come. Just a very interesting point.
Yes,
Keep in mind.
and the new hospital will be also an attractive feature for people to
It
come.
will. Yes, that too.
Exactly.
That works. All right, so that's been received, and then we have the other correspondence from Canine.
I would move to proceed with that.
I'll second that.
Receipt then, all those in favor? Motion's carried. Any discussion? Staff have brought this forward, I think they had a previous proposal at a staff level, and we got it again this year, so it was addressed to council for consideration. Councilor McGinn?
The CAO want to make any comment on that in regards to?
I think it's an interesting proposal. It has some interesting ideas, although I think to put it bluntly, it's trying to fix a problem that maybe we don't have. I'm not going to argue that perhaps not every dog in Comox is licensed, but then I think a lot of elderly or shut-ins that have smaller dogs that either keep them in the house or on lead don't require the licensing service, which can help relocate their animal. And at the end of the day, it's up to the owner of that animal to know that if the dog is loose and sent to the doggy jail, they're going to have to pay the cost associated with getting them released as well as licensed. So it's a risk an owner takes. And we do hope to, we're looking at expanding our availability of dog licenses by looking at offering them up at the rec center as well as another location that people can stop in and pick them up.
From the town's perspective, it's not, at present, it's not a problem that is
I don't believe so.
I know from my other job as housing manager with the base, there's been a handful of times where I've had to call the town for bylaw issues with dogs, and very promptly taken care of. And it's not just because I'm calling, maybe I'll have one of my staff call, and the bylaw enforcement officer is there within an hour and has dealt with some serious issues very adequately. So I agree with your comment, a problem that may not be there. I mean, we can always do better on everything, but I don't see it being an issue.
Thank you.
All right, so nothing further on that. That'll just be received and filed, and the author of that will be notified accordingly. That is all we have for the agenda tonight, so motion to adjourn.
Move, second.
Those in favor? Adjourned.